Oh yeah, my favorite thing.
Get in the end zone and call a hot route. O-line of beats right down the street to have Humphreys run right underneath. You know it's Bucs ball, we got the hardest D. Bring the pressure to the QB. You know it's routine, we got hard grease. Welcome to Tampa, welcome to Chill. Go Bucs, reppin' for my team. Go Bucs, you know we want the ring. Go Bucs, welcome to the Bay. Go Bucs, tune in with Buccaneer Blake. Bucs back. Talking about Evans, looking like Randy Moss. And Davis make a play on the defense. You can't solve the five take. On my boy McCoy, who you can't avoid. At the Raymond James, you about to feel the pain. You a Bucs fan, make a lot of noise. You a Bucs fan, make a lot of noise. Go Bucs.
Well, there we go. We have it. So let me let this thing run. Sometimes it gets a little crazy with the distortion and stuff like that. All right. What's going on, everybody? I'm just letting it run, getting caught up and everything, as I hate when it lags when I try to jump too fast. So if everything is copacetic, I'm glad everyone is here. Just getting a couple things right for today's show. All right. All right, let's start this off. What's going on, Chris from Cleveland, first in the room? As always, as I say this before, and I always say this again, is this thing rolling? Is this thing rolling? Yes, it is. Welcome back to another edition, Thursday edition of BucsReport.com with your host, Mr. Buccaneer Blake himself. You can't say Buck without saying Bucs Report. So we'll go down here and go through our preliminaries as always. Let us know where you're from, what section you sit in, all that type of good things. We got people, man, from all over, man. You know, it's crazy, you know, how people can come together, you know, over a football game, or, you know, sometimes we find a lot of things to find reason not to get along with each other, when we need to be finding more things why we need to get along with each other. But so says the world. I'm in 147. I'm right out here at Dunedin outside of Tampa, 30 minutes out. A lot of you guys are from all over the place, so it's cool to hear from you guys. It's interesting to hear, see what you guys got going on and stuff like that. But we're going to go through a preliminary so we can get to today's discussion. There's a lot to talk about, and a lot of people have a lot of different, you know, opinions on stuff. So we'll go with the Bucs Report sponsors. Nassib, please show sponsors some love here at Bucs Reports, BucsReport.com, by checking out the Rat Pack Sports Show, Rich Kid Clothing Line, and Woodham Insurance. Those guys are all Bucs Report sponsors. Check those guys out on the Bucs Report webpage at www.bucsreport.com, and you can find out more information on these guys. I have also some other sponsors I'd like to give a shout out to. Lids in St. Pete, Tyrone Mall, Christopher Shaw, contact number 727-381-4820. You receive 10% off your first purchase when you mention me or Bucs Report in that conversation. He will take care of you. Also, please, they put a lot of work in, a lot of articles, a lot of stuff they put out for Bucs Report, you know, discussions and stuff that people want to get into. So it's pretty cool, the amount of work. It's every day, and got people who edit the stuff and a whole bunch of stuff that goes on. And then we try to keep you guys entertained and informed and see your guys' opinion on the squad and stuff like that. So it's a lot of hard work that goes in for a lot of us with our own little shows and articles and stuff like that. A lot of people do a lot of behind the scenes stuff because everybody's not, too articulate when you get in front of the camera and stuff like that. Remember what to say and ad lib a little bit and interact with people. Keith, I know you from Tallahassee, Gilbert, Arizona, Cocoa Beach. I see you. Yeah, so everybody can't do it. A lot of people behind the scenes, everybody has, that they're good at. And a lot of these guys are good at what they're doing, journalists and stuff like that. So we'll start with the other shows. Sunday nights, Midnight Madness with Bill Siebert. Tuesday, Tampa Tony, Taco, and the Rambling Rossi Posse. Tony's Take, that's at 8 to 8:30. BritBucs by 1 to 1:30 p.m. Thursdays, you got me anytime, usually from 2 to 7. Saturdays, you got Peter Blake and the Sports Web. That's a pretty popular show. That's from 3 to 6 on Saturday. And Peter Blake is also the day after. So if the game is Sunday, he does the day after report and talks about the game and what happened in the game. So check him out. That's at 9 p.m. Then that's the day after the game. Other new shows you guys need to check out. Mike Clayton's new show called Listen Up. Pay attention to his or my broadcast for further information to see what's going on. Also look out for his special segment called Twitter Gangsters, the thing he wants to get out there, for all this negativity and social media that surround the teams. And I think it's really poisonous to this franchise along with, with the losing and stuff like that. But I think a lot of us need to, to stop all this hate. That's just enough going on. We just need to come together more often and things will change. But check that out. It's pretty interesting when he goes out there. Mike has a lot of perspectives and stuff that he talks about being a pro player himself, wide receiver, first-round draft pick. So he has a lot of points of views on a lot of stuff and a lot of firsthand experience. And he also does a lot of things in the community too, which, of course, a lot of people don't like paying attention to when people do a lot of good things, much like it'll be said and done with Tony Dungy when all the great work that he's done. The last staple on his career will be he won a Super Bowl and was a head coach in the NFL. You'll forget all about that because all the good work he's done for people, random acts of kindness. Get this out the way too. Fair use. Any copyrighted material that I use without permission for copyright holder purposes, such as I will only be using that for criticism, parody, news reporting, research, and scholarship and teaching. That's the only reason I use these copyrighted videos for. So it's fair use. I am not making profit off the videos. All right. Also, before I forget, because once I start talking to you guys, spit out everything. When you guys sign up for the website, if you sign up on my website, BUCnBLAKE.com, at www.BUCnBLAKESports.com, if you guys get in there and sign up, I do giveaways every month. I usually do the drawing near the end of the month. So if you leave your information on there, your email or whatever you want to leave, you feel comfortable leaving, I will send you an email and get your info out and mail you something, shirt, hat from Lids. Everything's sponsored by Lids, and I'll send it out to you guys just for being on the website. Donations are available. Anything that's donated that goes to any charity thing that we decide to go with, or I go with, or whatever my team wants to do. We'll give different charity organizations in the Tampa Bay area. So it could be breast cancer or children's or whatever it is, just whatever I can contribute to. I'm going to try my best. I know we did a raffle last year and Keith himself won a Jason Pierre-Paul jersey, which turned out to be good. Jason Pierre-Paul got double-digit sacks this season, so it seems pretty cool investment that he got, and he donated money, and we raised like $500 and gave it to the Dream Forever Foundation. It was cool. With that being said, let's move on. Bucs versus 49ers. What did we learn? And what was the breaking point? All right. Oh, you love the backdrop, Travis? Yeah, I can see my seats from here. Oh, it's the link. It's www.BUCnBLAKESports.com. I'll scroll it again later, Larry, so you can see it. Bucs versus 49ers. What did we learn and the breaking point? Well, what did we learn? We learned that we can beat bad teams, with bad offenses. We learned we can do that. We did that to the Browns, and we did that to the 49ers today. They didn't score a touchdown. We had a red zone stop. It was a much-needed win. I know we needed that. We know Jameis Winston knows how to play turnover-free football. Knowing and doing it, of course, are two different things. But I think he really turned a corner here. And it's not a game. I think it was a pretty good game to do it at, too. No problem, Larry. He literally took what they gave him. If you can run, you can run. If you took the check down, you took the check down. If you can scramble and find somebody open, then you make that play. Otherwise than that, you just throw it away or take a sack if you're inside the pocket. You're still struggling to run the ball a bit. Or become bad defending the run now. We were pretty good at defending the run. Now we're becoming really bad at defending the run. That's probably because we're missing all of our linebackers to be exact. Kendall Beckwith, Levante David, and Quan Alexander. We learned that Jordan Whitehead will probably be a future starter for us in the future. Jordan Whitehead can play. What else did we learn? We learned we had a kicker, Santos. Made good on his debut, made all his extra points, made all his field goals. I see you there, Thomas. Thomas Buckner, go Bucs, go Bucs. I hear you. Would you go after? Oh, Le'Veon Bell. I like how you did that this offseason. It's tough to say, man. I think we've picked up enough players in the past, free agents that want to just come here for the fact of the money and the tax purposes, aka Deshaun Jackson. I don't know if we want to keep going that route and tearing up the morale of this team. We have enough problems with that, with dealing with, with fans and other players that we bring here. I think we need to start trending up. And I'm going to talk about that in the motivation section too, about that topic right there. I know you guys like this hat, the Tampa Bay with the Florida symbol on it in there. I want the gold Tampa one too. All from lids. What we're talking about, Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, I think we need to start trying to change the culture here, man. Because to be quite honest, to be successful in this league doesn't take a whole swarm of good players. I mean, we'll see. The Rams have been picking up first round pick after X first round pick and loading their team up. And we'll see if it turns out to be a Super Bowl. That tends to work in the NBA because you're only dealing with 5 players on the court versus 22 that play in football. So there's a lot more intangibles involved in that. I wasn't always a firm believer of just recruiting free agents and stuff like that. To me, you just needed the core pieces for success in an NFL team, and all the other things can change out, much like what the Steelers do. They don't overpay for positions to sacrifice another because of pay. So, Nassib, are we going to get decimated this weekend if they pay me to go to the game? I'm there. Well, they're giving away free tickets to the season ticket holder. From what they told me in the email, I will be getting 2 tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes. We'll talk about that Panther game. Dirk is done at the end of the season, Lee. I think so. I don't think he's a leader. And that's the reason why I think he'll leave. He wants to be a coordinator, but in the head coach's position. And you kind of got to be both. You kind of got to put people in check. You've let this Deshaun Jackson and Winston thing ride on for too long, and it's kind of poisoned the team somewhat. So can't do that. And you just stand to the side and not do anything about it. So let's move on. It's a big day for Winston, Vea, Nassib, Whitehead, and JPP. As we said earlier, Winston played great. Threw for 3 touchdowns. 300 yards passing. No turnovers is the key stat. And, everybody's going to keep saying it every week. Oh, did he turn over a ball? Dirty turnover. There's too many intangibles with that, too. You can throw a ball straight to a guy's chest, and he hits off his face mask, and that's picked off, but he gets the interception for it. So that's kind of messed up with that stat. I know me and Mike were talking about that interception rate with young QBs. It's just everybody just seems to remember what's current and not previous people's. I pull it up. A lot of guys started off worse than Winston did. So, it's just highlighted right now because that's what you guys choose to talk about. And that's exactly what the news is going to keep putting out. That's why I don't really watch the news like that. I do base off information off of my own research and looking up numbers and looking up things myself, because people sell you an objective on television. You don't really have a choice in the matter. They're going to sell you what they want you to read and want you to feel from that. So that's why I don't really get caught up in television too much like news and stuff like that. How easy you can slander somebody's name and may sway people's opinions off of just saying some things on television. It doesn't even have to be true anymore. But there's people out there that will believe that you did that and don't know a thing about you or what you've done for anybody anytime in the world. And that's why I refuse to let news and stuff like that, get my rise out of stuff like that. And I try not to give opinionated stuff either when I do this stuff here. In chat, I go in there and say a spiel in there, and I'll let you know here what I believe and what I don't believe. So I'm not trying to sell you what I think is real news and what I think is not. I'll learn. You'll learn to understand me, to understand what I, when I'm giving my opinion and when I'm not. But back on the topic, Winston, we talked about that. Vea played very well with 4 tackles. I think 2 tackles for loss and a sack. Starting to come around. I think he said it's the first time he really didn't have to think too much. He could just play. He pretty much dominated the man in front of him all game. I believe I saw a play where 2 guys were blocking man. He pushed them at least 3 yards back into the backfield. Like I said, people keep saying that he's not contributing. You're not looking at the game as in the totality of. You're looking at the stat column. And at that defensive tackle position, the stat column doesn't tell the story. You can make the play without making the tackle. Anybody who knows football knows exactly what I mean by that. You can set up something, make a great play, get back there and force somebody to turn back, and somebody else just gets the cleanup and gets the stat. You will know, in fact, you really made the play. Vea's been doing that pretty much a lot when he's in. He's dominated the man in front of him, which I think is a lot of teaching from Buckner, to teach him to own the line of scrimmage and own the ground he's on and not give up ground, much like I saw a lot of Will Golston getting blown back 7 yards up against McClinton, the rookie right tackle, I believe. Offensive passing rank is still number 1, Larry. Offensive passing, as currently right now, is still number 1. But yeah, Vea's coming along. With a veteran defensive line too is helping him out, Gerald and JPP. So, it's like first time in a while we had a lot of everybody healthy. At the beginning of the season, a lot of people were hurt. We got everybody back and getting a good rotation in. So you're starting to see a lot of the D-line coming flourish now. Sadly, it's coming now when I think we're 3 games behind 500. Yeah, but I would like to see this team finish strong. Nassib keeps producing. I think a lot of his success comes from Vita Vea because they both play on the same side usually. And by Vea dominating his man in front of him, that's freeing up Nassib from extra blockers. And by Vea closing the pocket, the quarterback has to adjust, and Nassib's usually there to clean up on the sack or get a QB hit. He got a lot of QB hits last week. He was beating his man in front of him. So he's coming around in his own, man. I think he's found a home here, and I think that was a great pickup by Jason Light. I know a lot of people keep saying all that stuff about them bashing and talking about people are bust, and the season hasn't even finished. Being with all the circles around this team, we'll talk about that later on, but that's it. It's just too early to say stuff like that. Jordan Whitehead, finished with 11 tackles, I believe. Yeah, 11 tackles. We'll talk about it in a minute, Corey. They finished with 11 tackles, so I've led the team in tackles. So Jordan Whitehead is baller. He's just got to stay healthy. He reminds me of a lot of Tenard Jackson, a corner, I believe out of Syracuse, that we converted to safety, and it turned out well. A guy that could run sideline to sideline and make interceptions and make tackles. So it reminds me a lot of Tenard Jackson. Just hope to know he doesn't follow in Tenard Jackson and keep having drug issues. And JPP is JPP. Congratulations to him. If you're watching this, you finished with 10 and a half sacks. I know to us, I'll say me too. To us, it's a big deal because we finally got that double-digit sack marker. Sadly, it took since 2005 to do it, so over 10 years, 10 years plus to do so. But to you, I know you kind of making that face. I can read between the lines and read people's body language. You're used to doing this and producing and doing your job. To us, it's a big deal. And and furthermore, stands of what I'm going to talk about later is that our standards have dropped so low here in Tampa Bay that we get excited for the minuscule things, the very smallest things here, because we're not used to that. And a lot of it comes from not having continuity in things, and things changing so much, and people don't know what to believe here. And I want to get mad at fans and stuff a lot with that, but it's really not all them. It's really the franchise that's abandoned us a little bit, and that's made us like that. You haven't given us something to believe in, something to follow, something to understand for 10 plus years now. And they don't know what to believe anymore. You have those who want to believe in continuity and keeping things and hoping for the best. And you got those people who want to change everything all the time, which we've been doing. And I'm one of those people that want to keep the things that are working and keep building on that and not keep changing out, quarterbacks and head coaches and stuff like that. Because I don't think it's really that good to keep changing all of that all the time. I'm one of those guys. Yeah, they're all back today too. That's it with that. So Jay, that's pretty much what I feel about that. Let me get to the comments before I move on to the new section, because we are kind of moving kind of quick. So I'm going to get to you guys. As Corey, the Bucs should have 2 picks in the first round like Browns. I think they moved back to get those extra picks, if I'm not mistaken. Corey, Levante David, Justin Evans return Sunday. Yep, they were sure due. Thank God. Isaiah Johnson hasn't played too bad either. Bucs went out 9-7. Wouldn't be mad at that. Our D playbook sucks. I mean, in football, everybody keeps saying that, playing off 10 yards and all that other stuff. I mean, a lot of that is based on the player, unless you're, because I could tell you what we're doing, and then you've heard me say this before. There's things in a game that you can feel that aren't visible yet, but something is coming there, and that comes from your experience and what you can look at and body language and things like that. So I think Mike Smith left a lot of that like that. But these players are too young to really understand things like that in situations and dealing with matchups and stuff like that. Football is really a neck up game. I know a lot of it has to do with body and all that type of stuff, manning up on another guy and doing stuff like that. But a lot of it has to do with from the neck up and being able to understand things differently and understand and make adjustments. And like I said before, we don't really make too many adjustments like that. Robert Munson says, it's all about coaching and execution. We have good players. I've said that before, and he's absolutely right. The very small adjustments can make a whole key thing. I'll give you an example. I said the Bears did not have a very good defense in years, even with all the draft picks. You then added Khalil Mack to a defense, and it made a whole difference. Now that you can create that much pass rush, changes a whole scheme of things. Now DBs can play more tighter. They know they don't have to cover that long, and if they do, that's fine too, because they can run with the receivers. And that's where a lot of the playing off came from. That we were getting such a lack of pass rush you don't really have you can't play tight on the speed of these receivers and cover them for that long. This will get beat for deep touchdowns. So we were trying to bend but don't break, try to keep everything in front and make the tackle. But that wasn't working. Teams were just eating us alive. So it's good to see that the defensive line has kicked up since Duffner's come in. And I believe a lot of that is because a lot of the players are coming back from injury. Vincent Fernandez says, I don't think Cutter should be fired. Fitz broke record under his offense. Winston did okay under his offense. Maybe draft a QB that doesn't commit too many turnovers and they will win close games. I mean, yeah, that's a true statement. I can't argue with that. And I said in the post earlier, Jameis Winston is way too early to kick aside and start over at 24 years of age. Sometimes you're going to get quarterbacks drafted. They're at 23, 24 years old already because they decided to stay in school forever, X amount of time. I think it's way too early. And, Jameis was 20 years old, asked to lead a terrible franchise to the promised land, and we never really set him up for success. But granted, a lot of it had to do with him too, forcing balls and feel like he had to be the man to this franchise when really the franchise abandoned him and didn't build a successful situation around him. And like I said, still a lot of it's on him with trying to force balls and stuff like that. But I think that's where a lot of that came from. I think with Fitz coming in and starting, and he got to see really how things turned out, when you need to just do your part and let everything else fall into place. Because once you do your job, then we know that you're not the issue. We can move on to the next topic. And I think he's understanding. I really think the 49er game is a turning point. But we'll see. When you're up against a bigger adversary this week against the Panthers and their pass rush and Luke Kuechly, we'll see what's going to go on. Somebody else said something I wanted to get to. I feel like one bad play changes the momentum of a team. B. Love Holmes. I feel like when one bad play changes the momentum of the team. I think much like basketball and football, momentum is a key thing in a game. It can spark players. It can get players excited to make extra plays. Motivate everybody else, especially when you had a down play or things like that. You have to learn to overcome that because it's going to happen, especially with the way this league is, with all the passing and all these penalties and all the silliness that's going on. You got to learn to overcome that stuff and let it get you down. You just got to keep balling, man. You got to know stuff's going to happen. Everything's not going to go right, especially with the refs don't even know what certain calls to call now. And I understand because it's hard to tell what anything is now as everything is dissecting everything now. So momentum does have a lot to do with it, though. All right. Oh, here's a good one. Is anybody bigger than the team? I don't think so. And I think if you want players to respect you and understand what you're all about, you should set that example early. If the first thing that comes to your mind is Jameis Winston, I think the issue that didn't really get him in trouble is the fact that it was 3 years ago now, not recently. I think if it was something recent and brand new, I was reading a comment that has to go with something we're talking about later. Ken, save that energy for the next topic. Say that. I'm gonna get that in a minute. Yeah, if that had happened recently, I think there would have been something crazy might have happened. I don't know, but it was 3 years ago. We really don't know what happened. So I mean, it's whatever. I'm just glad it's over with and we're moving on playing football. But I think John Lynch set a good example with Reuben Foster and that whole domestic violence issue. If you're a new GM coming in there and you're trying to change a culture there in San Francisco, you come from here, which I don't understand why we couldn't keep him here at a position, but that's a whole nother conversation. A guy that knows what team football is all about and continuity in players and building great rapport and stuff like that. We could have really used that asset here because that's something here we need. But the Glazers have a tendency to burn bridges really bad, especially with the kids now taking over since the late Malcolm Glazier is gone now. He was the one with the football brains to know how to build an image and put people here that wanted to be here. Yeah, but nobody's bigger than the team. And I think John Lynch set a good example for the team and showed that he's about the team and the franchising moving forward and not staying with repeating issues with the team, knowing that they got their own things that they need to overcome. So I'm looking forward, to see what he does with that franchise and just think about what could have happened here with us. But we need guys like that here from the top on down that aren't scared to pull the trigger and make decisions for this franchise moving forward, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. We know where you stand when it comes to this franchise and it comes to certain situations. So, and that was basically what I was ranting about earlier. I can't almost really be mad at these fans or whatever you guys want to call them and bash the squad and everything because they don't know what our image is. We don't know what we believe in and things like that. Corey's going off today in there. Harbaugh for next season head coach, Harbaugh, McCarthy. We'll see. We'll see. You said Will Grier. I'm not doing that every year with a quarterback and think that every quarterback is because it's successful, because it's really not the quarterback, man. It's really the system that you put around him, the situation that you put around him. Much like Mike McCarthy is getting a lot of backlash that you've had Aaron Rodgers that's so talented and is doing everything with so little. And you don't have nobody to run the ball, the defense to fix things and stuff like that. And so Aaron Rodgers has only been to one Super Bowl and won it. That's pretty bad for a guy that talented. There's no guarantee that Will Grier will be successful here. All right, Ken, I told you. Player development and player placement. Very important that I think. Now, Ken says, that's why I said I wanted to wait. So many times I've seen great QB come through Tampa and get traded. We don't stick with them or build to suit them as we should. And the ones we do stick with are duds. How many QBs have we gone through? I don't even need the internet for that. Vinny Testaverde was gone. Steve Young, we traded. Doug Williams, we didn't want to pay or didn't want him here no more. Trent Dilfer, we couldn't really get an offensive line to support him. Goes on to win a Super Bowl. Steve Young was Hall of Famer. Vinny Testaverde has a great career in New York with the Jets. Trent Dilfer moves on. Well, I just talked about one Super Bowl. Doug Williams goes and blows out Hall of Famer John Elway in the Super Bowl and blows him out, wins Super Bowl MVP. But you basically said something I was going to say with player placement. How many times do we keep saying that, oh, they go to other teams and they do well? Why do you think that is? Why? Why do you think that is? Because it was just a conversation when we were just talking about Will Grier. You can plug Will Grier here. You can plug Peyton Manning here. You can plug anybody here. If the system around them is set to fail, it is not going to change. It's not going to change. From the top on down, if you're not going to change, you have no direction of where this team is going. Nothing's going to change no matter who you put here. And I've seen teams with mediocre talent, with good coaching, fare well in this league. Bill Belichick, he does not have all-star players on his roster. He has a system. These players believe in the system, and they follow the system. And they can take one cog out and put another cog in, and the machine keeps right on moving. And when one makes the cog and the machine stick, you know what? You take that out, and you put one in there that fits, and the machine keeps on rolling. We don't have that system here. We think that we think on a get-rich-quick scheme here too much. We think that we just put one piece here or buy one gold chain, everything's going to change. When I mean a gold chain, I mean a franchise player. I mean free agent player that we pay a lot of money for, and we're overspending on players like Ryan Jensen, the highest paid center in the league, because they don't want to play here because we have no leverage because our franchise is all over the place. We're not winning, so there's no leverage to make him come down and pay there. You got the mess like this quarterback controversy and Deshaun Jackson contributing to it to make the team turn to Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of told you what was really going on in the meeting when he said, well, players tend to like you more when you give them the ball. Ding, 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 ding. Especially the wide receiver position. Receivers tend to like you more that you target them more. I mean, it's the nature of the beast, but you don't try to turn a team around on a guy that's been all about the team and was there and supported you. And just the off season before, everybody said you were too old and no good. I don't know. But that's part of the situation here. I said people keep talking about, oh, in the third year, a quarterback's supposed to progress. Ain't the team supposed to progress too? So the quarterback's just supposed to progress, but nothing else around him. So it's still trash at his feet, but he's supposed to keep moving. Yeah, that's the issue. Everything needs to be moving. Everything needs to be moving forward. So no matter who gets plugged into the system, we can keep moving. We're still stuck in neutral. We haven't moved to first gear yet. And we think just by putting a new guy in there to make you guys happy because there's a new name in town, that's not going to change anything if you don't fix the real issue. And that's getting people into this organization that know how to run a successful franchise, because we think that we just change one piece every season and change it. It's going to change. That's not the issue. The players ain't the issue no more. We've had players here. It's not the players anymore. It is the coaching, and it is the GM, and it is all the guys above there, that whoever makes these decisions, some of these decisions or whatever they want to do, I don't know. There's answers that I'll never get. I can just speculate. But thanks. Can you say something? There's just some things that I'll never know. But Corey got me distracted. I was reading this comment on there. And there's things that we'll just never know with decisions that are made. So what like I said, what I was gonna say, I had it in my head. I had it in my head what I was gonna say, but I lost it. Like I said, we will player placement and stuff. Like we're asking apples to be oranges. I say you're not making players. You're drafting players to be something else. People were complaining about taking Vea over Derwin James. Derwin James is thriving in the system. Well, for one, Chargers are already winning to begin with. So you just plugging in another piece in the system that they already have established. We don't know what we want to be here. We're still deciding if we're going to fire our defensive coordinator. You want to bring a rookie into that? We already had a Derwin James. His name is Mark Barron, playing for one of the best teams in the league right now, called the Los Angeles Rams, I think, out in L.A., playing how he should be playing, like a box safety, not a safety that plays coverage over top, which wasn't what he wasn't asked to do in Alabama, but we were asking to do that in the pros. Like I said, you're asking an apple to be an orange and then getting mad that the apple isn't an orange. Well, why did you take the apple to begin with when you know you wanted an orange? Take the orange instead of the apple. See, I can compare football to simple things like that. And it's just crazy. It's just how it is with here. We don't know how to use players properly. Our coaches can't motivate and turn bad players average players to good players to great. That's what coaches do. That's what Bill Belichick does over there. You use players. Look at Cordarrelle Patterson. Cordarrelle Patterson was a first-round pick to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings were asking to be a number one receiver. He wasn't really a number one receiver in Tennessee to begin with. He was a more open the field, on the run kind of guy. And that's what the Patriots use him to do, returning kicks and get him in open fields, handoffs, reverses, screen passes, and stuff that he's good at doing. I'm not asking you to be something else that more than you are. That's our problem when we try to force the issue on things. I should have kept Lovey for 3 or 4 years. Oh, God, Todd, don't get me started. They fired Lovey because Shannon Sharp said it best. They fired Lovey because they got scared that the Eagles were sniffing around Dirk Cutter, and They made a rational move, fired the man. Didn't even have the nerve to call him in and tell him. They fired him over the phone, like he did something wrong here, and he was getting this franchise going in the right direction. He's part of the reason why we have all these offensive players. Remember, he instead of the D guy, he went and got all these offensive players. So he knows we needed to score points. He was helping his offensive coordinator out by getting offensive players. Mike McCarthy, Bucs trade Aaron Rodgers to Tampa for what? I mean, like, not like for what? I mean, like, what are we going to give up, and why would they do that? But yeah, it's part a lot of the issue here in Tampa. We don't. That's what I want to say. When people say players should move on for 3 years and the team doesn't move on, we don't. We've never had a franchise quarterback to know what it's like for a player to progress properly, because we don't have a system here long enough, aka coaching, to establish a system where players know, oh, okay, this is economics class. I said, I'm going to economics class to learn the economics. And then you show up first day of class and you read the syllabus, and you're learning Egyptian language, or you're in there learning calculus when you're supposed to be learning economics. I don't know. Like, we just do one thing. We say one thing and then we do another. It's just too much flim flam. The only thing we've been good at is consistent. Is being inconsistent. Yeah, Quan too. Yeah, he was good at picking linebackers. We know that. Called Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs. Sorry, the phone was going off. Those two. Here's another one. Alex Cappa. Should Alex Cappa start Sunday versus the Panthers or no? Why not? I've seen enough out of Caleb Bennett not to know that he's not going to be starting next year. Jameis knows that he can't stay in the pocket that long, and that's why he scrambled out a lot and just tried to take what he could get and move around in the pocket. That's kind of what it's been like all season for them both. And they both really learned from a lot from each other. Fitzpatrick and Winston, Fitzpatrick and scrambling, and Winston and running when he sees man coverage. So I thought it was pretty cool. A lot of those two took something from each other. Took a bad situation with both of them going back and forth, and the lack of leadership from coaching. And above, they learned stuff from each other and supported each other through that rough time. And that's kind of what a team's supposed to do, what a family is supposed to do. And that's kind of what we need here often in Tampa Bay. And I think taking him out of that would be kind of poisonous a little bit. But he has to prove to the fans and prove to other people that he deserves to be here longer. So that's in his hands. I can't do anything more than that. I'm supporting the guy, and I don't want to go through this anymore with quarterbacks and head coaches and stuff like that. I really wish that Dirk would get himself together and lead this team and light a fire. Except for when it's at the end when we victory, that seems the only time he really wants to step up and voice is when all that's going on. But whatever. Yeah, I think Cappa should be plugged in. If Damar Dotson is injured any longer, you either put Cappa at tackle, you can put him at guard and slide Beninack at tackle, either one, or you stick one of the other young tackles, Lidkett, or I can't think of the other guy's name right now. It's just 61 Leonard Webster. You stick him in there. So we'll see how that rotation works on the offensive line. Evan Smith can't play tackle, either play center or guard. All right. The keys to victory versus the Panthers. He's crazy. Larry needs a new playbook for Christmas. Keys of victory versus the Panthers. I watched a lot of tape. Now, I like what Seattle did against the Panthers. They let Cam Newton run. Cam Newton's kind of shoulder still kind of messing them up. So they took Christian McCaffrey away because that is now where their offense is going. The offense flows through Christian McCaffrey. And I think they saw that watching tape. So any option situations, they kept taking McCaffrey and forcing Cam Newton to run. Cam ain't running like he used to 10 years ago when he used to butcher us for 100 yards rushing. He can, but the reason I'm saying that is because I would rather have him taking more hits now more than ever, because when he's running, that means he's tired. He's not going to make accurate throws. And if he's banged up too, he's not going to make accurate throws or adjust his throwing motion to subside the pain for a moment. So I think I like Seattle's technique, what they did. I would much rather take away Christian McCaffrey and have Cam Newton keep running. Just our linebackers and defensive linemen and DBs are going to have to come up and lay the wood on him when they get a chance to, when he's in the backfield and all that, because they're going to still try to run the ball on us and pound us and use Samuel and the rookie more reverses, crosses, and then try to get pitches and screens out to McCaffrey. And I'm going to show you a tip. I could basically break down the Panthers tip watching it with their offense. I've seen enough the first game to figure it out. Yep, they're going to pound that rock. And us too, we need to you got to figure out ways to get Luke Kuechly blocked, because if you don't block Luke Kuechly, he's going to come in there and make them plays. Be careful of Thomas Davis in the secondary, swarming around making plays on pass covers, because Thomas Davis was an ex-safety playing with linebacker, much like Brian Urlacher was. He was a safety at New Mexico and converted to linebacker. Bruce Arians said the only team he'll coach, Todd, is the Browns. So that's a no. Robert Mathis stick with Jameson Fitz for the rest of the season and can't keep switching them back and forth. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that the Bucs did this season. I said if you know Jameson was coming up into his final year, it would be best to play him even through the struggles, so you know at the end of this season if you were going to move on from him or not. But instead, you kept switching back and forth, so now you're left with these last 6 games or 5 games you got here. So you kind of put yourself in a losing situation, which we're more than used to doing. Yeah, I'm not getting that into that. What was I saying? Panthers, yeah. Yeah, we got to run the ball and then get successful. I got to block Kuechly. The corner is going to come up and jam Mike Evans again. So what you're going to have to do is probably send him on some motion to get him free releases instead of just leaving him there and getting jammed and holding up. Because Winston's going to look for him to get him the ball. And I think Mike Evans can beat him in some double moves and one-on-one situations. Just got to get Mike in the rhythm early in this game. I think that would be very important, is to get him going in this game. Since the last game he kind of got taken out, it was pretty much with bad play calling. It's like I said, if they're gonna, because what they're gonna do is they're gonna come down and put Bradbury on Mike Evans, because Bradbury has very long arms and he could punch Mike. Not like physically punch, he could punch Mike and hold him up at the line a little longer than most other corners can, because Mike does have long arms. So, and then they'll just slide the safety over top of Deshaun Jackson and take away the deep threat, because unless we can run the ball, that's not really nothing else is gonna really happen like that. I mean, if I was them, I would try to get more passes out to that side that Mike is on, where the safety isn't, and try to get the backs and the stuff out there and catch some passes on that backside, and try to get one-on-ones with Thomas Davis and the linebackers, and hopefully you can beat these one-on-ones and pick up some extra yards. But we'll see what kind of game plan the Bucs come out with. I mean, that would be something that I would do as far as plays and stuff. I hope I'm not talking, in circles when I'm talking about football here, because it can get a little confusing. And I want to show you guys some of the stuff that the Panthers are going to do to us on offense. So if you hold on 1 second, I know I haven't done this in a while, so that's why I did the the fair use thing. So I want you guys to see this. I'm going to break this down for a little bit. Break it on down. Give me a minute. right, here we go, guys. Guys can hear me, right? Everything's all the way live here. So what we got? Luke Kuechly's going to flow sideline to sideline. Got to get blocks. But that's more interesting. I want to talk about the offense here. Look at that. They're going to blitz. They don't get no protection. And that'll be exactly where Beninock will be. All right. Panthers come out. Let's look at this formation. You got two receivers at top. You got Greg Olsen down here, kind of in the slot, almost H-back area. Christian McCaffrey out here, side card left, and Funches down here at the bottom. Panthers would normally do in this situation. If this linebacker right here comes, and he's going to throw this ball out to this running back right here. That's what I would do. That means he's in one-on-one coverage with Bradley McDougald. That's where, if I'm Cam Newton, this is what I see right now. Linebackers in the middle of the field, safety staggered over towards the Twins side. So let's see. Where receiver comes in motion, you're stuck with one-on-one with that safety. There you go. Break it and get extra yards. Again, same thing. Motion to get flow the other way, throw it in the flats to the running back. And you see how the fact that he was back off of Cam Newton, positioning of the running back means a lot too. It'll tell you kind of what's probably going to happen here. So what we got here now? You had him tight end left. He's going to go in motion. When they're usually tight formation like this, it's usually a run pass option, or Cam Newton just likes to hand it off up the middle. But I think this is more going to be an option here, especially with him motioning backside. He's going to see if that linebacker come over and they can get one-on-one with this safety right here, McDougald again. They slide down. Now you got the side of the field open. Motion, send the tight end back to block. Cam Newton becomes the runner. Your offense doesn't – it's becoming simple to me, even with all the moving. Same thing. Olsen came back to be lead blocker. Cam Newton runs. That's fine. As long as you keep hitting Cam Newton, that's what I want to see. Same thing out of us. Panthers don't fool me on this either. Trips formation up top. Tight ends down here at the bottom. Tight ends probably going to drag across the field or block this end and send these guys pulling here. But what I believe was going to happen here, especially with Christian McCaffrey back this deep, somebody's going to come in motion backside from the top to the bottom and try to get flow traffic away from the trip side to open up the lane right over here. So let me see what's going to happen here. Oh, there's the motion. Throws it. Oh, he throws it to Christian McCaffrey on the backside to free up a man on that side. So, yeah, their offense doesn't get too tricky for me. Same thing. Let's see what Olsen does. He probably drags from right to left. I can't see. Cameraman moved. I'm only just going to do this one series. Now, this is that formation I told you about. When they're real tight here, this is probably going to be a handoff straight up the middle. Oh, Cam pulled. Okay. But they like to run out of that tight formation like that. And then Christian McCaffrey bounce up here to the line of scrimmage and bounce down and find a gap and run. See how tight they are? It has to do with splits. I guess, like, remember I told you things about sometimes you can't see things, and you can't really see that watching television at home. They're in tight again, and you got a tight end down here at the bottom. Cam Newton hasn't done this the whole drive, so I believe he's going to throw on this play. Oh, boop. There it is. Olsen comes back across, catches the pass over there, moves the chains. Something simple. Olsen comes from the back. He comes from the backside and goes underneath. If you don't see, you'll see this. Screams run all the way. Gets all the linebackers biting. Everybody's up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the box. Hit him with the play. Look at all that traffic flowing that way. It's like watching water. Somebody has to take Cam. You actually had Olsen open, and you had Ben Watson open on that play. And they moved the chains. I'm just going to do this drive. I'm not going to bore you guys to death. They try to get tricky here. You had tight end right, and then you got a sidecar left, and then you got a pistol formation behind that. Olsen's going to come across and probably be the lead blocker on this side. He's going to fake motion the running back over here like an option play to get linebackers flow that way, and probably throw this ball back over here somewhere to Christian McCaffrey. Blocks down, fakes option. Oh, what do you know? Maybe I should be D coordinator. And you get a face mask call. We'll slow it down again. Comes across because you got a 5-man front. They're in a 4-3. Yeah, they're in a 4-3 over with a safety in the box. Or 4-3 under. Excuse me. Man, he's giving away that this is a run. He's staring down all the way. He's leaning that he's going to block over there. Comes down. There it is. He pretends he's going to block the end, but comes up and blocks the linebacker, causes traffic. 58 gets caught up. 51 gets caught up. Throws a pitch kind of high, and then runs outside for a first down. Plus the face mask. One more. What? Yeah, one more. All right. I like this when they go tight because they can do a lot out of this. They can run or pass. Normally they like to run because everybody's in tight because these basically other blockers, and then you can get to the edge right here. You can seal this. You can try to get McCaffrey up here one-on-one on this safety up here. He's under center. So I had to guess it might be just a straight handoff. He might boot. Motion, usually a jet sweep. Oh, pitch. Oh, that's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous play. That guy could have knocked that ball back. He's changing the play. And he's going to call for a jet sweep. Man, that could have got real ugly. Christian McCaffrey makes something out of nothing. So there you have it. I'm not going to keep going over that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me get back to the broadcast here now. Now that I've done my little tape session, I know Dean's going to be happy. Motivation for the week. Excuse me. Madden 19 predictions. Did Madden 19, EA Sports Madden 19 predictions. The Madden 19 had us losing to the Panthers 16-15 in a very tightly defensive battle. We blocked a field goal in that game. But sadly, the Panthers came up with a last-minute drive and was able to get a field goal to finish us off. Score with 7 seconds left in the game, and we were unable to score a field goal or a touchdown to pull away the victory. We lose to the Panthers 16-15. In your Madden 19 predictions. Motivation for the week. Now, why I bring this up is what I was talking about earlier when I talked about continuity and image of a team. When I was talking about when Malcolm Glazer took over this franchise, and we had success so quickly because we had an image and we had a view of what we wanted to do with our business, aka the franchise. It was Dungy's motto. To to be caring to each other, be great teammates, be family. As John Lynch always says, family, nobody's bigger than the team. To be family oriented and work together within the community, helping those in need. And that flows between the team and the community. And I think we've kind of lost that image here. We don't know what we are anymore. But I think we need to go back and realize what got us started in the first place. What I know everybody keeps referring to those days, but why don't we try to relive what got us to those days, not just the end result of the Super Bowl? I think we've lost that. I think we've just tried to find ways to do this faster now and without putting in the groundwork for everything. And I think we need to go back to find what our image is and to go back building that kind of building that rapport with the community and things like that. And that's across the whole forefront and build ourselves an image and an identity to get back to what we are. If we're going to be this passing offensive team and all that, that's fine. But we all got to be on the same page here. The fans got to understand what we want to be. That's from players, the coaches, everybody with this franchise. We have a direction of what we're trying to be here. If we're not really trying to be a stout defensive team no more, then don't pretend to be one. Be what we're going to be. We're not going to really try to stop the run. We're going to try to stop the pass. So, whatever we're going to be. So, I think we try to be too many things at one time, and we need to find an identity of what we really are now. Before I forget, like I said, with signing up for the website, I'm going to do the drawing. The drawing, let's see who wins the free hat for being on the website. I have a free hat or shirt, whatever's nicer. I'll see what's there. All right, let's see what's happening here. I got one out. HotRodney1@hotmail.com. Rodney, if you're there, that's you. You get the free prize from Liz. We'll figure it out what it is. I'll email you, Rodney, if you're watching this. HotRodney1@hotmail.com. If that is you, if you're watching today's show, you win the free item. I'll send you an email from my webpage, and let me know what you want to do. You want me to mail it to you? You want to pick it up from the store? Whatever it is, will be from Lids in Tyrone Squares Mall Shopping Center. I have nothing else to go over. We've talked so much today. Do you guys have anything for me? With that being said, well, as we always do, you're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Like I said, make sure to check out my Clayton show, check out Bucs Report show, check out all of the shows. We all put in hard work out here and work day jobs as well. Now, thank you guys. God bless and fire those cannons.